Namaskar and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a really profound and honestly pretty challenging vision for society. It's from the text Problems of the Day. And what we're going to unpack is nothing less than a blueprint for a new world, one that's built on the idea of a single universal family. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with this one powerful sentence. The author says, Parama Purusha, that's the supreme consciousness, is my father, and Parama Prakriti, the creative principle, is my mother. Now, this isn't just some nice poetry. According to the text, it is the absolute philosophical bedrock for everything that comes next. Because if the universe is our shared homeland, then it means all of its property, all of it, is a common inheritance for every single living being. Just that one idea turns our modern world completely on its head.
Okay, so before we can even talk about a cure, we have to understand the diagnosis. The text offers a really sharp critique of what it sees as the core disease plaguing our society, and it all starts with the concept of private ownership.
At the very heart of this philosophy is this beautiful ideal, the entire world as one big joint family. In this kind of model, everyone's basic needs, we're talking food, clothing, education, healthcare, all of it is guaranteed. It's just like it would be in a healthy, functioning family. It's a world built on the idea that we all have shared rights and we're here to take care of each other. In this slide, it just lays out the contrast so clearly, doesn't it? The author argues that this beautiful ideal of a joint family is in total opposition to what's called the capitalist reality, a system described as being created by selfish opportunists. So instead of a common inheritance, you get private ownership. Instead of mutual support, you get exploitation. It's a completely different worldview. Wow, the text really does not hold back. This quote paints such a vivid, devastating picture. The author sees capitalists as antisocial creatures, people acting against dharma, or what is fundamentally right. It's a deep moral condemnation of a system that's seen as just inherently exploitative. And here's the crucial point. This isn't just seen as an economic problem. It's seen as a psychological one. The author says the human mind has this infinite longing, but when that incredible longing is misdirected, when it's pointed away from spiritual growth and towards physical things, it becomes this pathological drive to hoard wealth, which makes people totally insensitive to the suffering of others, a psychic disease. So after that pretty intense diagnosis, you have to wonder, what's the cure? Well, the text doesn't just critique, it actually lays out a really comprehensive prescription for healing society, both economically and politically. So here are the main pillars of this economic revolution. And I want you to notice a key term here: socialization, not nationalization. That's a huge distinction. The idea is that wealth belongs to the people as a whole, and it's managed through local cooperatives, not concentrated in the hands of some central government. And get this, it even includes a humane transition for the former owners, making sure their needs are met too. To make this more concrete, the text gives us a great practical example of how this decentralized economy might actually work. So, you'd have large-scale production where it makes sense, like a big central mill making yarn. But that mill then supports a whole network of small local weavers' cooperatives. This creates a really strong, resilient local economy where people can actually work from their own homes. Now, this is a fascinating point. In a capitalist system, right, mechanization often means people lose their jobs. But in this proposed collective system, technology becomes a tool for liberation. Think about it. If a machine can suddenly do twice the work, you don't fire half the people, you just cut the working hours in half for everyone. The author even imagines a future where the work week could be just a few minutes long, freeing up all of humanity for cultural and spiritual growth. Okay, so that's the economic vision. But this blueprint, it goes way bigger than that. It actually aims to dissolve the very borders that divide us. So let's take a look at the political side of things. This is a pretty radical idea for a lot of people. The text basically argues that nationalism is just another ism, right? It's no different from tribalism or any other narrow mindset that creates an us versus them mentality. So the ultimate goal has to be to move beyond this kind of limited identity and toward a truly universal outlook. And the way to get there? A world government. But look at how it's designed. It's meant to be brought in gradually, step by step. At first, it's just a body that frames laws. The two-house structure is clever. It makes sure both big and small nations have a voice. And its very first goal is so important: to protect minorities from the whims and potential tyranny of individual nation-states. this brings us to what might be the most critical question of all. The text points out this historical cycle, right, where every ruling class, the warriors, the intellectuals, the capitalists, they all eventually become the new exploiters. So if we create this amazing new world, who on earth can we trust to guide it without falling into that same old trap? The answer proposed in the text is something completely different. It's a new type of leader, a new kind of person altogether, known as a sadvipra. So, what is a sadvipra? Well, it's not a politician. It's not a ruler in the way we think of them. This is a person with incredible moral and spiritual integrity, someone who lives by yama and niyama, the core principles of ethical conduct, and whose outlook is genuinely universal and selfless. And their role is totally unique. They don't rule directly from the top. Instead, they act as the moral and spiritual core of society. Their job is to be the guardians, the watchdogs, constantly fighting against exploitation and making sure that no single group ever gets to dominate the others. You don't elect them, you recognize them by their actions, their service, and their character. They embody the best qualities of all people. They're intellectuals, warriors, providers, and workers, all rolled into one. And all of this, every single idea, it all builds to the author's final, incredibly powerful call to action. It's a synthesis of everything we've talked about into one unifying message. Just imagine that for a second. That is the ultimate goal, for these moral leaders to sound a call that rises above every division with one simple world-changing message: human beings of the world, unite. And this is what that unity really means. It's a call for this deep, resonant harmony, not just in what we do, but in what we hope for, in our hearts and in our minds. It's all about moving toward a collective, harmonious existence. Sangachadvam samvadadvam samvo manamsi janatam. It's a vision that's meant to echo through time, a call for all of us to move together and think together as one. And so that leaves us with this final thought, doesn't it? In a world so often defined by competition, by nations, by private property, a vision like this challenges absolutely everything we take for granted. It asks us to really reconsider not just how our society is built, but who we fundamentally are. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration. If this breakdown gave you something to think about, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you back for more content like this.